Hi everybody, Cindy here with Pathways Homestead, and it is time for a much overdue garden tour. I have not been good at getting filming done. The gardens aren't doing very well, whether that's from the crazy weather we had, like it was too cold and then too wet, and then it turned off hot and hardly any moisture. And how much is left over from the residue from the spray, we don't know. But everything seems to be struggling really hard, except for the stuff that is in the new raised beds. And that's what is leading us to believe that there might be a little bit of a residual from the spray. Not sure on that, but that's a theory that we have. So we are trying to put as much in the raised beds for fall as we can. There's still a lot existing still in there that we planted early, but we'll get a look at that soon. Right now I'm working on cleaning out my herb garden, and we'll get a little shot of what's left in it and what needs to be replanted. We're also going to we're going to keep this raised bed here, but we're also going to transition the little garden into a perennial garden. So we'll end up with two perennial gardens, and herb gardens and tea gardens, or whatever we want to call them. So there's still lots of weeds to clear out, but I've been working on clearing out and just clearing where I have existing plants. So over here in this corner where I've cleared out is my Egyptian walking onions, and they had gone dormant for the summer and they're just now starting to sprout back out. And then right here beside the sprinkler is my lemon balm. And then we have our chives and our sage. There's a little bit of peppermint around the sage, and way over in the corner over there is just a little bit of spearmint. But the rest of this garden is open except for garlic. And I had told Gary I wanted to clear out the garlic this year and turn this back into just an herb garden, and the sheep got in here and ate everything down, and so now I can't hardly find the garlic, but I am finding it as I'm weeding. There's garlic underneath there and harvesting it then, and so I'm getting a pretty good garlic harvest. But I still have the rest of this garden to clear, and I've just been working on that a little bit at a time every day, and working mainly, starting out focusing on where I have plants. Okay, here we are at the south raised bed, and so we have cauliflower here and also some broccoli, and then we have a few tomato plants and one lone eggplant down in the very corner. Then we have some courgette peppers. This is our first year to grow those. I just ordered them from Baker Creek, and just wanted to give them a try. They're a sweet pepper. They're beautiful pepper, very prolific. Plants are nice and healthy and doing well. And then I have my poor Jubilee tomato plants. These are Gary's favorite tomato, is a Jubilee. And so I planted the 4 plants that survived, or actually I had to buy them from the greenhouse at Eureka. Planted them in there. I put some purple basil in amongst them, and they're doing really, really well after the hornworms have attacked them really bad. I've been picking hornworms off of them by the handfuls. But today I went out for the first time and did not find any hornworms and no new damage. Here we have our walking stick kale, and then we have our Jaworski peppers. 5 of those survived from our planting, and so they're doing really, really well. I got those seeds from Baker Creek as well. Our plants are jalapeno pepper plants, and we also have a few more purple basils in there. One of our rosemary plants. We have our Nero de Toscana kale or cabbage, which whoever you buy it from, it's different. Baker Creek sells it under both labels. And then we have our 1,000-head kale back there. Today I went in and sowed some of our black turtle beans in right here, and then amongst here, so that we could have some black turtle beans for fall. We also sowed some black turtle beans in here, and that's more of the 1,000 head kale, more of the Nero de Toscana kale. I did finally get my lemongrass put in here. I have another rosemary plant in here, but it is not doing very well. I have some more jalapeno plants here. And then this morning I planted some greens, some Asian greens here, right here in this strip, and then some lettuce for fall. And we'll see how that comes about. And of course, as always, purple basil. I had so much purple basil this year. It was so prolific and did so well. It was a gift from Baker Creek for a purchase gift. So I started a whole bunch of those plants and was able to share some and then plant them throughout the gardens. So here we are in the big garden, what we call the annex. We had squash planted in here, our yellow squash and our zucchini squash, and the squash bugs have just wiped them out. We still have some stuff left, and so we'll show you what is left. So we have a few sweet potato vines. I believe there are 4 sweet potato vines left. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sweet potato vines left, and we have a few Grandpa Cargill okras left. We had some greens planted over here, but the weeds got away from me and I couldn't keep up, so we lost all those. So we have some garden fails, guys. Big fails this year on the garden. We've been clearing off because our green beans didn't make it, and our black turtle beans, and our red cowpeas, and our sweet corn didn't do. Guys, we just really struggled this year in the garden. Spaghetti squash plants, I'd say all of them, and just keeping it weeded and keeping the squash bugs out was just such a struggle. We weren't able to keep up. But now that I'm feeling better, I'm praying and hoping for a good fall garden. Of course, I won't get the corn and stuff like that, but it'll be all right. We still have some Kentucky Wonder pole beans here on the trellis. Just a few. They're struggling. We're trying to keep them watered. I need to get in and get them weeded, but that's going to have to wait. We do have 6 eggplant plants here, and they are doing really, really well, especially this one here. It's doing really good. Here we have a few of our cucumber plants. We have a big long row of several cucumber plants, and we've been working on getting them weeded, fertilized. We've been putting chicken manure in a burlap bag. I'll show you that. I'll show you our fertilizer trick. But anyway, so cucumbers, they are finally starting to take off. We fertilized them and are trying to water them every other day. I moved all my pepper plants. I had pepper plants here and lost most of them, and I moved them all. I still have a few of the herbs left that were planted amongst them. Right here is a chamomile plant. Right way down there, little. Things are stunted and not growing well in the big garden, and that is not normal. So we really feel like there's still some residual from the spray. Gary's watermelons are here. All this stuff was planted a long time ago and is still just not growing well at all. So for fall crops, Gary planted some Cherokee tan pumpkins, and they have germinated and are starting to take off. And there's 2 varieties here. There's the normal Cherokee tan, small ones, and then there's also a large Cherokee tan pumpkin. I have some more jalapeno peppers here that my friend Cindy and Eddie, our friends Cindy and Eddie gave us, and we have 2 of them left. 2 of them are sticks after the blister beetles got a hold of them. So we have fought blister beetles, and we have fought squash bugs, heat, and drought, and residual from spray. Just a lot of struggle this year on the garden. This whole part of the big garden did not get planted at all. We're still in the big garden. We're close to the chicken house, and we have some of our tomatoes here, and they are doing amazing. In between the tomatoes, we have a few pepper plants that have survived. That one got hit really hard with the blister beetles, but it's coming, leafing back out. We'll see if we get any peppers before frost. Several different varieties of tomatoes up here. And these are our tomatoes that have survived. I have a few in the little garden. We'll go over there next and have a look at them. Here is our water and fertilizer setup. We've got the hydrant where whenever we're going to be able to water to fill the bucket up and let it soak. In this burlap sack is some chicken manure, aged chicken manure in this burlap sack. We've got it down in the barrel. There is a sump pump for like your basement sump pump here, and it will suck the water out. The honeybees are loving the burlap to get water off of. But anyway, so that is our fertilizing system that we have for right now. Here beside the swimming pool, we have a tomato plant just like last year. I just planted some cilantro seeds down here. We had cilantro in here and it's finished up, and so I pulled it out and fed it to the pigs, and then we reseeded cilantro for a fall crop. I planted dill and weed in this planter today, and we'll see how it comes up this fall for a fall crop. Okay, so here we are in the new little garden, and as you can tell, the weeds have taken it over. We've harvested all our potatoes out of it, all of our onions out of it. The beets didn't do well, and they're gone. And then there's a few cabbages left in it, but they're really struggling. I hope to come back. I hope to dig those next week and move them into the little garden, and then this garden will be done and we can put animals in it to clear it off. But overall it did really well with the potatoes and the onions. We had a really good harvest from those. So next we're gonna go to the little garden. Right, so here we are in the little garden. I have a few tomato plants left. I have a few tomato plants back up in there. I have my Amish paste tomatoes. We have our leeks that have bloomed out, and all this is just weeds. It's just a lot of weeds. We cleared it once, but it didn't last. We needed to put down some more straw, but we can get that done. It's not that bad. It won't take that long, and it actually looks overwhelming, but it's not as bad as it looks. Because of the straw and using the roost out method, we can get this cleared out pretty quickly. We have some random tomato plants throughout the garden here, and we have a few pepper plants that survived. Today I planted some Thai basil here in the little garden amongst the tomato plants. So here we have horseradish that a friend of ours gave us, and our horseradish was a friend of ours gave us after our horseradish was wiped out from the spray. So there's that horseradish. I have 4 plants that survived. There's one way down there in the corner. But the little garden is doing really, really well. We have some tomato plants here. The peas are finished. I have a hit and miss pepper plant and down these rows. And I also put in some strawberries, and I don't think the strawberries made it either. But just a lot of work today. Got to get busy, get things cleared out. I've been working. As you can tell, I cleared this row of weeds and have them in that bucket. I've been working on this row and planted some Thai basil between these tomato plants. I need to finish up getting the trellises done and get some peas on them as well for fall crop. But yep, overall it's doing okay considering the lack of care that we've put into it this year, as we've both been super busy and been ill, but overall it's doing pretty good. All right, everybody, we've shown you the good, the bad, and the mostly ugly. The mostly ugly and the mostly bad of our garden season this year. It's a struggle. It's a struggle this year, but we're going to just keep plugging away, doing the best we can do, and just showing you guys what it's really like sometimes homesteading. Sometimes life gets away from you and things come along that you can't control, like illnesses and somebody spraying your crops by your land by accident. But we're surviving. We're going to have some crops this year. I picked 4 tomatoes this morning, and so yeah, we are getting by with what we got. Luckily, we have stuff left over from previous years, a little bit, and we have friends that are sharing again, and again this year sharing their garden abundance with us. So that's our garden tour for the 1st of August 2022. Thanks for coming along, y'all. I pray you have a blessed week. And remember, God made you special and He loves you very much.